Property owners are responsible for clearing snow and ice from the sidewalks. We saw in the last two snow events in New York City that the streets were very clear, but the sidewalks were pretty treacherous. We don't like to enforce these. We don't like to issue summonses and do enforcement, but we are prepared to enforce these very basic safety rules in New York City tomorrow to make sure that our sidewalks are clear and are passable. I am now going to turn it over to our Commissioner of Emergency Management, Zach Iscol.
Thanks so much, Commissioner Tisch, Mr. Mayor. Always wonderful to be here with you guys. And just to start, a heartfelt thank you to all of our incredible crews who will be working tirelessly throughout tonight and the next few days to keep us safe. These dedicated professionals, including police officers, firefighters, EMS personnel, sanitation workers, and many others, are really the backbone of our city's resilience in the face of adverse weather conditions. Their commitment to New Yorkers really knows no bounds, and I couldn't be more grateful for the work they'll be doing tonight and throughout the day tomorrow around the clock. So thank you. In terms of the forecast, as the mayor, as Commissioner Tisch said, we're expecting 5 to 8 inches of snow. We'll start with rain around midnight tonight with a shift to snow sometime in the early mornings. We could see rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour. This could lead to difficult travel and low visibility for the morning commute. In advance of this, the National Weather Service has put out a winter weather advisory. We have issued a travel advisory for tonight through tomorrow. We do expect travel delays tomorrow citywide, so we encourage everybody to stay off the road, to keep themselves safe, but also, really importantly, to allow sanitation crews to do their job of clearing the snow, and to allow first responders, police, firefighters, EMS to get around the city should they need to. We activated this morning our winter weather emergency plan. That means we now start coordinating with a number of agencies, including sanitation, Department of Education, DEP, DOT, Transportation, Environmental Protection, a host of others, including state partners, 311, Port Authority, MTA, and others, to make sure that we're prepared for this winter weather. Timeline, as I mentioned, one of the things that we are looking at this storm is right now there is low confidence in the forecast. That means we could see more snow, or it means we could see less snow. That really will depend upon when the shift occurs from rain to snow. If it occurs earlier, we'll see more snow. If it occurs later, we'll see less snow. We're also looking at how the snow bands tomorrow will line up. Those snow bands we can't really track until we're about an hour out. And so if we see some heavy snow bands coming into the city, that means we could see higher rates of snow. It means we could see higher rates and amounts throughout the city, but we won't know until tomorrow. It's also possible that we see less snow than currently forecast. As Commissioner Tisch said, this forecast has really changed. Yesterday we were expecting about 1 inch of snow. Right now, we're looking at 5 to 8 inches. So it is incredibly important for all New Yorkers to stay informed, make sure that you are monitoring the forecast, make sure that you sign up for Notify NYC, available in 14 languages, over 1 million subscribers, available by calling 311, by downloading the app, or by going to nyc.gov/notify to make sure you have the most relevant information. The other thing I want to flag...
We're going to jump in here now.
There's always multiple hazards that we need to be aware of. And one of the places people often get in trouble is when we look at one hazard, snow, and we don't pay attention to the other ones. So there are potentials with high gusts of winds tomorrow in combination with the snow of leading to reduced visibility that could really impact roadways. The other thing that we're looking at is potential for minor to moderate coastal flooding in and around Jamaica Bay, parts of the Sound. So that's areas like Broad Channel, Hamilton Beach, parts of the Rockaways, up to City Island. We're looking at that really in local areas between 11 a.m. is the high tide mark, but that could continue on to about 2 p.m. So really important that all New Yorkers are paying attention not just to the snow, but the other hazards. There's also potential disruptions to the evening commute as there are remnants of slick roads and precipitation on those roads. So be careful even after the snow stops. A couple of last things. Code Blue, enhanced Code Blue is in effect. So as the mayor said, if you see a homeless New Yorker, if you see somebody vulnerable, please call 311 or 911. We have teams that will be going out to try and get our most vulnerable off the streets. And then as the mayor said, tomorrow is also an election day. Always important for everybody to vote. We have 46 polling locations that will be open in the Bronx and Queens. 38 of them are public schools, 2 are NYCHA facilities, 6 are private facilities. We are working very, very closely with elections to make sure that those sites are open and running, that will be salting, that will be shoveling, and want to just give a big shout out and thanks to the election workers who will be going out early in the morning at 5 a.m. to make sure that those sites are open. Finally, make sure you're monitoring the forecast, and again, we'll always be pitching Notify NYC. Thanks so much, and back over to you, Commissioner Tisch.
Thank you, Commissioner Iskell. Next, we will hear from our school's chancellor, Chancellor Banks.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, and good afternoon, everyone. Yes, schools will be, we're not saying closed tomorrow. Schools are shifting to remote learning, and that's an important distinction. When we say schools are closed, then officially that does not count as a day for us as relates to state law. Our schools are still in session, just differently. And so the long gone are the days of just a snow day and everybody just has off. So we're going to have a big snowstorm, most likely, but our students, we expect for them to be fully engaged. It is important to note, it is what we refer to as a synchronous day, school day. And what that means is that if your child's as an example, in the 3rd grade, they will show up online with their teacher at the same time that they would normally do it in school and have a regular session of school and simulate it much in the way that it would be as if they were already in school. So the mayor and I spoke early this morning. He gave the word that we should start the preparation. We notified all of our superintendents, our principals, teachers have now all been notified, and parents are being notified in real time as we speak. And one of the things that was most important that I shared with the mayor was that in order to do this effectively for a school system this large, you need as much time to prepare and to be ready and to let parents know so that they can be ahead of the game. That's why we're really happy to have this press conference here at this moment. So we will have no school tomorrow during the day. We will have no after-school programs that are taking place tomorrow. We're certainly hopeful that we will be back in sound order the following day and ready to go. But we feel really good about this. We've taken some time as a school system to do simulations and to prepare for this. And it's one of the good things that, in fact, emerged from the pandemic was our preparedness to be ready for moments like this. And I think the school system is more than prepared. We'll be assessing our effectiveness every step of the way. And I'm really just thrilled also with Commissioner Iskell, who keeps all the city agencies informed with a heads up, and beyond thrilled with Commissioner Tisch, who I don't think the city's ever been more prepared than her and her leadership and her team to prepare for a snowstorm. And so let's get ready. It's going to be an exciting day tomorrow. We wanted to make sure that we kept everyone safe. That's the #1 thing. We did not want kids to be stuck on buses and teachers having to make their way, particularly once the snowstorm happens, making their way even home. Because the prediction is that it's going to start in the morning, and we didn't want folks to wind up getting snowed in and being very unsafe. So we've spoken with the teachers union, we've spoken with the principals union. Everybody said this is the right call to make. It gives everybody a chance to get out in front and start to get prepared, and we're ready.
And again, thanks so much to my chief of staff who's brought the whole team together and make sure the coordination was seamless as all the agencies that are involved are on alert on how we're going to be prepared for tomorrow. Charles, yep. Mm-hmm. Well, first, no, it's not late. As we stated, I think 6:40 was exact. 6:40, we got the update on what we were dealing with. And so immediately, we did not wait for the 12 noon press conference to notify parents, teachers, superintendents, principals. We spoke with the chancellor this morning and immediately shifted into gears. So we wanted to give the maximum amount of time so we can prepare. Mother Nature shifts. This is not our call, it's Mother Nature's call. And as soon as we can make the right call and not a premature call, we did so. And, you know, kudos to making it earlier to give parents and families the maximum amount of time. When it comes down to why we didn't close on a rain day in comparison to now, these are the calls we make. We sit down with the entire team and say we at a weather point where we need to close schools. We did not believe we were at that point when it was raining, just as we didn't believe back during COVID that we should close schools. We make the call based on the safety, preparation, and the ability to our children and families to get to the school, and we make the call the best way we can, and we did it the right way this time. Yes. Mm-hmm. Hold on one moment. Yep. Charles.
Sorry, just one thing to add to that. I think one thing that also just needs to be brought up, and the mayor touched on this as well, is there's a big difference between forecasting for rain versus forecasting for snow. Snow generally, and I put a lot of emphasis on that word generally, you have a little bit more lead time in terms of the forecast. Rain is much more difficult to forecast than rain, but as the mayor said, you know, it's also different impacts in terms of the potential threats to kids. This one is something that was made incredibly early. Usually in the past, that decision to go remote or that decision to cancel school is usually made the morning of. And again, that's because of the constraints of the forecast.
Which is just a snow day. Why can you not just say tomorrow is a snow day?
Well, several different reasons. That's a great question. One of the most important aspects of it is that we came into the school year with our children falling behind. COVID took months, if not years, away from the education and the socialization of our children. We need to minimize how many days our children are just sitting home making snowmen like I did, and they need to catch up. You know, the chancellor has done an amazing job. We're outpacing the state in reading and math, and we don't need to slow down. We need to keep our foot on the pedal. And so whenever we can use technology to do so, we're going to do so. I did not have internet or remote learning as a child. I wish we would have, but we have it. We better use it because we have to catch up and exceed where we are.
So that affects all of your, yeah, for Chancellor really quick. There are already some message boards among parents who are saying, I'm not going through this, they can't log on to the Zoom, can't click over here, they're getting sort of PTSD from what happened during the pandemic. So are you giving them any kind of chancellor's permission at a certain point? If it doesn't work tomorrow, take the kids out of the prospect. You're really trying to get in that park to just have a regular snow day at NYC, yeah. Listen, the goal here is for us to effectively be able to deliver instruction for our kids, as the mayor said. Whenever you're dealing with technology in a system this large, there are always glitches. We want to minimize those glitches because we want our students engaged. And, you know, by 3 o'clock, the school day is over. They have plenty of time to get out in the snow and still have some fun. So we don't want the kids to not have fun, right? I'm not a Grinch. But we do want them to be able to be actively engaged in school and get the most out of it. And the goal is to really make sure that we're getting it right. And when there are some glitches, we'll have help centers and whatnot to help get our parents through.
Yeah, hold on, because I want to go back. I want to go back before Zach touch on this. Listen, snow days, my mother had to walk us to school with her arthritic knees. If you are a parent and you are not willing to navigate a computer for your child, that's a sad commentary. That's a sad commentary. Clicking on, figuring out how to navigate that, use it as a teaching moment on how to get it online and how to get it up. Showing our children that difficulties come and we overcome that. That is what it's all about. So you can't tell me that mommy took me to school with her arthritic knees in a snow day and you are frustrated about lining on to a computer. That's not acceptable to me. Our children must learn. They fell behind. We need to catch up. That is what we need to be focusing on. Is that?
We are not. Those structures, the reason we evacuated in the past is because of high winds. We haven't hit any of those triggers. There's no concerns for flooding. We have a snow removal plan in place. And as we said before, those structures are designed to handle inclement weather, right? So the rooftops are at a certain pitch that the snow comes off. They're also kept at a certain temperature that when snow hits it, it melts. Should we get really heavy snow, we have large rakes we can use to remove the snow from the tops of the tents. We have a snow removal plan to be able to remove snow from the grounds, but there's no need or no plans at this time to have to evacuate Floyd Bennett Field or any of the other tent facilities.
How are you? Yes. Well, you know, it took me over 2 years to reach a point where I can finally see a living example of what I stated. 8.3 million people, 35 million opinions. No matter what we do, there's going to be this. And so what we must do is be leaders and make the call not based on the loud voices, but based on our analysis of the circumstances that we are in. Because if we close the school early or we close it late, they're going to be what you and Kelly has just went through. This is the team. We got to make the right calls, and we have to do what's best for our students. I remember during COVID, everybody told us close the schools, close the schools, close the schools. We did the analysis. It was a smart thing to do. It was the right thing to do. It was the safest place for our children at the time. We're doing that once again right now. And so for those who said we should have closed it earlier, or those who said that we could have closed it late, you just reinforced 8.3 million, 35 million opinions. Yeah, let me update the shooting. Okay, we had a shooting this afternoon, earlier in the day. It appears as though it's still under investigation. I can only give you the preliminary facts that the leadership executive team gave me. There was a dispute, a domestic dispute appears to be between two brothers. The police officers responded, and when they entered the residence, one of the subjects had a gun pointed towards the police. It's still been under investigation of what the gun was. They discharged a round, struck him in the stomach, and now they're getting a final analysis. It appears as though he's likely, or he may have gone DOA while we're here, but that's still an investigation. There was no injury to police officers, and one officer went to medical treatment based on what's normally the ringing in the ear that comes from after a discharge of that nature. But as we get more, we will update you and let you know more. Okay.
You got this.
This is CBS 2 News at noon.
And right now at noon, a red alert for a winter storm set to bring snow to the tri-state area. We've got team coverage, including Mayor Adams announcing city schools will be on remote learning tomorrow. Good afternoon. I'm Chris Raggi now on CBS 2 and streaming on CBS News New York. Our big story at noon, this red alert starting tonight through Tuesday morning. Winter storm watches and warnings are in effect. There could also be some coastal flooding. We're expecting to hear from New York City Mayor Eric Adams any moment. We'll bring that to you live when it does happen. But right now we have team coverage with meteorologist Tony Sadico on the west side. Christine Sloan is live in New Jersey. Let's start with John Elliott live in the Weather Center. John.
Boy, Chris, I like the way you set that up with right now compared to this storm on the way. There's going to be a big change from right now to this time tomorrow. So you can see in the sky a hint of blue. It looks relatively quiet. Numbers are mild for February. That is all going to change. Clouds will fill in. That's it today. The storm right now bringing severe weather to parts of Georgia into the Carolinas, migrates north and runs into cold air. So the National Weather Service has posted a winter storm warning for much of the area. You see that pink color right there, and it's just north of the Bronx, just on the other side of the bridge. So impacting our area, a winter storm warning means plan on winter driving conditions. And again, you can see it's a watch or advisory for the city and then central parts of New Jersey. Our red alert kicks in tonight through Tuesday morning. Why? Rain quickly changing to snow. Very challenging commute tomorrow morning. This is prompting schools to make that tough call right now to keep the kids safe. And then wind is going to follow. Coming up in my full forecast, we'll talk more about that wind and the chill that will follow this storm. But we also will talk about some variables that could limit snow accumulation. So a little bit more science we have to talk about right now, though. Right back to Chris.
Okay, John, thank you. CBS News' Tony Sadico continues our weather coverage, joins us live from the west side with more on some of these potential totals. Tony.
Yeah, there, Chris, and watching the totals closely, but what we can tell you right now is to see the salt pile behind me is that the city is prepared to deploy more than 700 salt spreader trucks heading into this afternoon. We also know that, as you mentioned earlier, the mayor has announced that schools will be remote. So we know this is a high-impact storm for the morning commute. This will at least alleviate some of the worst impacts, where we expect the worst of the storm. So fortunately, not a big-time situation where kids will be excited about a snow day. But what about the timing? We expect the storm to pick up. The later we go this evening, it starts kind of light, then overnight really transitions to snow. It's a slushy mess and then picks up intensity. We expect the heaviest to fall right in the heart of that commute through about noon before the system pulls on out of here. Now, it's a complex situation. We know the air is going to be cold enough aloft, but it's down to the surface. The air marginally cold enough, but we're still seeing, with the snow coming down heavy, that areas, especially northern sections of the city, Bronx, for instance, getting a little bit better snowfall than areas to the south. But at this point, as we've been talking about, Chris, it's really going to be a situation where travel is going to be the biggest headache. We know travel advisories are already posted, 6 to 12 inch totals expected areas to the north where there'll be a lot of snow to plow. It's that heavy, wet snow, so folks really got to be careful because it is that heart attack snow. Take it easy. Do this thing in waves as we watch the weather deteriorating late tonight into early tomorrow. Chris?
Very much. Now we have some breaking news in a weather-related story. Mayor Adams posting on X this morning that all New York City schools will move to remote learning tomorrow. This with this expected weather tonight into the overnight could lead to 5 to 8 inches of snow, as you just heard Tony mention. Now, he says new information will be coming throughout the day, and New Yorkers can follow, notify NYC for updates. And of course, we will keep you updated here on CBS 2. The mayor expected to speak any moment from down at the down in Greenwich Village, and we will have that for you as soon as that becomes available. And tomorrow's storm also prompting the city to suspend alternate side parking tomorrow. The Department of Transportation made that announcement this morning. You'll still have to pay the meters tomorrow, but alternate side parking rules are suspended for Tuesday. Some parts of New Jersey could get more than 6 inches of snow. CBS 2's Christine Sloan joins us live from Clark in Union County this noon. Hi, Christine.
Hi, Chris. We're at a hardware store here in Union County. As you can see behind me, plenty of rock salt. But I might add, people have been coming here, some of them wearing T-shirts to buy this rock salt. The owner of this hardware store says this season's weather has left him and his customers confused.
People in general are confused whether we're in early spring or we're still in winter, but now it looks like Mother Nature is going to throw us another curveball.
Inside Ace Hardware in Clark, New Jersey, a good number of weather-fighting tools left over from a winter season that's seen little snow.
We have plenty of snow shovels. We do have snow blowers in stock. We always try to keep it. And I actually have additional ice melt coming in tomorrow if the truck makes it in here on time.
Several counties in New Jersey, including Bergen and Morris, are under a winter storm warning. Other areas could see a slushy mess. Here in Union County, Ace Hardware employees say they're ready for the storm, even staying open later Monday night until 7. Folks are preparing early.
I'm pretty much prepared. I'm going to get some more salt today, though. He's got a good supply of salt, so this is my place to get the rock salt.
And of course, road crews will be treating those roadways today, later on today in the afternoon. And the Jersey Shore also expecting high winds and coastal flooding. Of course, we'll have more of that later on today. We're live in Clark in Union County, New Jersey. Christine Sloan, CBS 2 News.
Christine, thank you. And we will have First Alert team coverage bright and early tomorrow, dark and early as we like to say. As the snow moves in, you can join us starting at a special time tomorrow morning, 4 a.m. We will be here for you for all the information you need. More breaking news now in Queens, where police officers fired gunshots during an investigation. Jim Smith is in Chopper 2 live over the scene in Far Rockaway. And Jim, what is the update there?
Well, Chris, we know that at least one person was injured, one person was shot. They've been taken to Jamaica Medical Center. This is a situation that began around 10:30 this morning near Beach 51st Street and Beach Channel Drive. What we know at this time is that it was a shooting that involved police officers. It's unclear at this time whether or not it was a police officer that was injured in the shooting. There is an investigation, a large police presence ongoing at this location. Again, this all started at 10:30 this morning. We are waiting to get more information from the police department as to the particulars of this incident, what led up to it, and again, whether or not it was a police officer that was injured in this shooting. Live in Chopper 2, Jim Smith, CBS 2 News.
Okay, Jim, thank you so much. Just ahead on CBS 2 and streaming on CBS News New York, a new curfew for some migrants across the city. Why City Hall says it's expanding the curfew to even more shelters. And we got to look back at Super Bowl 58, all the highlights, including the Taylor Swift effect. That's coming up. Well, the city is imposing an 11 p.m. curfew at more shelters used to house migrants seeking asylum. The move follows a recent shooting and a separate assault on police officers in Times Square. CBS 2's Christina Fan now with details.
Near the Gatsby Hotel on Houston Street, now converted to a migrant shelter serving families with children. Neighbors are skeptical if imposing a curfew will lead to better public safety. The new restriction, which requires asylum seekers to stay inside from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., will apply to 20 shelters across the city beginning Monday night.
I think it's a great idea, but it's not going to work. Summertime is coming, and they're going to be in the streets.
Is this temporary until we get a better handle of how to manage and work with the incoming of undocumented people.
The city already implemented the curfew at 4 shelters last month in response to community complaints. The expansion was announced over the weekend, following a series of violent incidents involving migrants that have gained national attention. They include the group assault on 2 NYPD officers in January and a shooting inside the JD Sports store in Times Square. Mayor Adams briefly commented on the issue Sunday.
Anything that can keep us safe, that's the goal. Public safety.
Officials say the new restrictions are in line with those already in place at the city's traditional homeless shelters and will allow for more efficient capacity management of migrants in the city's care. A total of 24 migrant shelters will now be subject to the curfew, impacting about 5,500 people, a small fraction of the tens of thousands of asylum seekers the city currently cares for. In Soho, Christina Fan, CBS 2 News.
An update on that teen arrested in the shooting of a tourist at a Times Square sporting goods store. 15-year-old Jose Alejandro Rivas Figueroa is now being held without bail after being arraigned on charges including attempted murder, attempted assault, and criminal possession of a weapon. He's due back in court tomorrow. Prosecutors say the teenager from Venezuela shot a woman inside the store Thursday night, then opened fire on police officers who were chasing him. He was arrested Friday at his mother's house in Yonkers. Voters are set to cast their ballots tomorrow in a special election to replace disgraced expelled Congressman George Santos. Democrat Tom Suozzi, Republican Mazi Pilip cast their ballots Friday on Long Island. Both are hoping to win over undecided voters in New York's 3rd congressional district, which covers parts of Nassau County and Queens. Sunday was the last day for early voting. Election day is tomorrow. We will have updates for you all day here tomorrow. Just ahead on CBS 2 and streaming on CBS News New York, bracing for what could be the biggest snowfall in more than a year. John Elliott times out the storm right after this in your First Alert forecast. Let's bring you back here, though, and actually talk more specifics about the forecast. Let's bring in John Elliott right now. It sounds as though they've got all their ducks in a row. They got all the equipment ready to go, and now it's just like when and how much, right?
Well, it's all when will it change over from rain to snow?
Yeah.
Their model has it happening later than our model. That could be good to keep down totals. So let's walk through the storm, take you back outside. Right now, the day to take advantage of, it's quiet, 44 degrees. Again, you can see clouds rolling in, that's it. After school today, fine. After work, great. Tonight, super. Have some chores to do like I do, get them done because here it comes. Severe weather affiliated with this. There is copious amounts of moisture, available moisture. I have made some stops. Let's ride the storm in together. Between now and tonight, you can see there is good agreement that it starts as rain. And around midnight, where it meets that cold air, you start to see that
This is CBS News, New York.
The special election to replace former Long Island Congressman George Santos has turned into a big buck slugfest that has taken on national importance. The Point starts right now. You might say that this race is a race within a race because picking a replacement for George Santos is only part of what's at stake next Tuesday. Control of Congress is on the line. Right now, there are 212 Democrats, 219 Republicans, and 4 vacant seats. And with a razor-thin margin, Republicans are spending big in New York to pick up another seat. Democrats are also spreading cash around in the hopes of turning the red wave that has engulfed Long Island.
Illegal immigrants arriving by the busload. Why? Because Tom Suozzi repeatedly weakened America's borders.
Republican Mazi Philip, an Ethiopian immigrant who served in the